When did you start here in St. Tierlands and when did you finish?
Well, I started here, I came to St. Tierlands on the 8th of November 1971 and I finished in 2009 after doing 38 years. First day I came, I'd never been really, came from Cavan of course, had done 2 months in Ballyshannon teaching in the De La Salle school there, and since I had been trained on a scholarship, as all of us were in Coláiste and Gorey, we were obliged to work for a couple of years in a vocational system. And because I was working in a secondary school, De La Salle school in Ballyshannon, it didn't qualify me for all the perks that were going with it, so that I had to really, but I took a job just to get started somewhere. And when this vacancy came up here, I came here. Never had been much west of the Shannon before, not once maybe or twice. Sligo had a match or two, and didn't have a car. Stayed in the Dolphin Hotel, £5 a week, that was full board. I had an unusual circumstance in that I didn't have to work, I think it was on a Friday, simply because I had a night class or two. And imagine, I was only sort of fresh out and I had 20 or 22 adults above there in the woodwork room. And they wanted to do some project, and here I was trying to design and, well, half make it for them. And they all older than I was at the time, but anyway, we got over that. But that was the reason I wouldn't have had the full 5 days to work. But yeah, I forgot to say that my subjects were, well, mechanical drawing at the time it was called, and woodwork. And then later, of course, they changed to being, well, grand names. The drawing became design and communication graphics after being technical drawing for a while, and woodwork, materials technology, wood it became afterwards, all these grand terms. But anyway, we knew it as woodwork and drawing.
Can you talk about what the school and teaching was like back then?
Well, of course, it probably was a bit more, probably a bit easier because there wasn't as much paperwork to be done or a paper trail to follow you around. It was a bit, I suppose, easier going to a point, but when I started here, we didn't have Leaving Cert here in this school. So most of our students, and a lot of them would have been boys, but would have been in the majority, would have gone to get apprenticeships. Borden Mona, ESB, CIE, they were the big, and we used to lose good students, you know, at third year, that's as far as we went. But in 1972, I'm almost sure it was 72, we started doing the Leaving Cert. But if we did it, we could only do it in 2 subjects here, and that was in construction, building construction, and in technical drawing. So I did the construction studies for the first year, and until we say a teacher who would be more specialised in that subject came in the following year. But I was also doing the technical drawing, and was doing that for the 36 years, I suppose, and it had changed along the way. But classes were big, and I remember one class up there where we had 2 classes at third year, but it was 3 and 3B, and the 3B fellas were nearly all as big as myself. The room was full of big people at the time. But a lot of the time, as I said, they either got work or got into apprenticeships. But it was a big change when we started doing the Leaving Cert. But later on down then, in order to do the full Leaving Cert, our students then would be going over to Gordon Rabbit to do the academic subjects like English, Irish, Maths, and maybe French. And that was the agreement that was. We couldn't do them and they couldn't do the technical subjects. And so that lasted for years, and then eventually they started sending back students to do the practical subjects here, as in the technical drawing and the construction studies. So that continued on until eventually the school here decided, let's go on our own. So that's when it started here, that this school started doing the full Leaving Cert with all the subjects that you people are doing nowadays.
What is your most memorable moment, funny moment of your time in St. Tiernan?
I suppose, I don't know, memorable one, because I was involved in football. I suppose we had many great moments in football, and one that sticks in my mind is we hadn't beaten Belmullet in under 16 for 10 years, and in a final out in Kilteen, we beat them by a couple of points, and that was one of the sweetest wins. And I know that we won a Connacht B title a week or so before that, but still the county title was sweeter, simply because we hadn't beaten them for so long. When you asked then about funny moments, I suppose there were many of them. When I was doing the night classes here, Lord mercy on the caretaker here, Tom Cadden, and Tom would come to the door and give me a nod at maybe about 9 o'clock, and he'd say, "You're wanted out here." And it was out then for a cup of tea to the kitchen, but of course we wouldn't tell all the night class students, but or you're wanted on the phone, and that time there was no mobile phones. But that was one thing. But then we used to have students from the college in Limerick coming to do their work experience, if you like, here, or teaching practice here. And there was one thing, although the guy in question, he denied it, but he was using a marking gauge, and the fellas that are doing woodwork here, the girls maybe even, would know that the spur on the marking gauge is about that length in from the end. But he was gauging something that he couldn't rightly get into, and there was a student teacher there at the time, and he took the marking gauge and he put it down on the bench hook, and he got the saw, and he was shaping to cut the piece off the end of it, to shorten up between the end and the spur. And of course the student teacher went, "Oh no, you can't do that, you know." Now I didn't actually see it happen, but we had another fella then, and we had the blackboard T-square, and he needed a bit of 10mm stuff or something. What did he do? He went up and he cut about that length off the end of the T-square. Yeah, satisfied his own needs, but didn't mind whether he wanted it or not. But I know, there were lots of funny moments in the staff, and a lot of sad moments too, because we lost a lot of students, you know, for one reason or another, through accident and, you know, ill health and so on. A lot of students, so we had a lot of sad times as well.
What do you miss most since you're retired?
Well, you know, I don't know, do I miss anything, because I used to tell the staff here, the current staff, I used to say, I'm not going to come in too often in case you think I miss you. But no, to be honest, I really didn't miss it. I loved what I was doing. And I went a couple of years before I needed to go. I could have worked on it for another couple of years. But I loved it. Loved the woodwork. It was lovely, you know, maybe helping to design something, and the realisation of that then when you actually made it was great. Loved the drawing and so on. We always had a great atmosphere here in the school, and I think it continues to this day, and I hope it does. We all, well, we used to like to think that we never set ourselves up really above the students, and we were all the same. They were all on the same level. So in other words, I never wanted somebody to be opening the door for me or lifting a sheet if I let it fall. Do you know what I mean? We were all the same. So long as the students knew where to draw the line. There was always an invisible line that you expected that they didn't cross. And I always remember having one of the early Leaving Cert classes, and they were very much into sport, and I would have had them on a Tuesday evening for 3 classes. And the first thing come in, they'd say to be, whether it be football or rugby, were you looking at the game, or did we get any game at the weekend? And we'd talk for 5-10 minutes on whatever sport was at the weekend. And I might say, right lads, come on, we better do something. There would be another word about it. So in other words, they were happy to get their few minutes talking about them, and I was happy enough too. And we got on, we started working, and nobody ever sort of drew you back off the track again to talk sport. That was it. You talked in the beginning, and that was it. So a lot of nice moments with students, in that we used to always get on well together. And I'm not just speaking for myself, but I think it's always a good sign when you go out there at the weekends after, and there isn't somebody waiting to give you a shot or something like that, you know. It's not a bad sign of how you got on when you were in school.